Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. Joined by Cheese straight off the strange game, to say the least, against the Manly Seagulls. Luke Keary, what was he doing?
I don't know. To be fair, today he took it like a man and just owned up to it. But
Meant to one off
he's not good in a good headspace at the moment. So let's just keep Luke Keary out of it. But
I reckon it looked like he's been looking for his passport to go to France, and he couldn't find it. He's come into the game distracted. Mate, we're going to get into it because it was a great game, but you guys invited them back in. Other than that, Cheese, how was the weekend?
No, it was good. Just didn't do too much after the game. Went to Kmart, saw some funny toys and stuff. My missus
What?
went to Kmart after the game.
I did not. What
on
hang
Sunday.
On. What are you doing in Kmart of all the shops?
Well, my missus loves to buy. They got good cheap homeware stuff like candle holders and stuff like that. So she goes and has a little browse. We brought a cake to, and in the end, she made a lemon cake. And all I do is just when I'm at Kmart, while she's homeware shopping, I just go and look at all the toys. They sell some pretty cool toys.
For kids.
Yeah, I know, but it's interesting to look at. They actually, I don't know if you can say it, but they sell autistic toys now, like autistic babies. So I thought it was fucking very inclusive. Respect.
Okay, I was not expecting you to say that.
Well, I sent it into the boys. It's like, how good's this?
And you're just bopping it. Mind you, I mean, if there's a choice looking at cake tins, candle holders, or kids' toys, I'm probably going to get more out of the kids' toys than the candle holders and
my
cake
plan
tins.
actually was I was going to go try buy one of them Nerf guns and hide it from my missus, but they were all a bit too big.
Yeah, they're not something that you can just...
I wanted to
there's no secret
buy it, put it up the shirt, and then when I get home, every time she walks through the door, I was going to shoot her or something. But
yeah, you're going to need one of those massive carrier bags for the Nerf guns. There's no way you're just buying that on the down low.
How was your weekend, Jimmy?
It was action-packed, Cheese. Worked Friday evening. Did the live show with Fox last week, which was really good. I had Tino on this week. We'd pre-recorded him, so I was excited for that one to get out. That's a great listen, mate. By the way, thanks for steering me into that question that I couldn't ask, that he asked us to get cut out. So thanks for that. But mate, what a leader he is. A phenomenal leader. He's a guy you want to play with.
I think we spoke about it last week, but the difference in human being he is now compared to the Tino I knew. He was always a great guy, team man, family man, but he's just taken that leadership role to a whole nother level. And he got thrown into the deep end at such a young age. He was 21, 22, the captain, then he was playing Queensland, Australia. Yeah. He got thrown into the wolves really early, but he's come out the other side on top. So I'm really proud of him. Yeah,
he's phenomenal individual, human being. What else did he do? Did High Rocks, which is a fitness event. So I'm pretty sore after that. Myself and Jeremy Lattimore and partners then went to Beer Footy Food Festival, which was outstanding. Couldn't tell you who won. I think the Jets were.
What is Beer Footy Food?
Beer Footy Food. It's.
I do like beer footy and food, but
basically exactly what it says on the tin. So Henson Park, independent brewers, independent food places, and there's a game of footy on as well. Not that most people would know. The Jets got up. And, some great beers.
Is that all that happened over the weekend? I heard you run into a little bit of beef. A little bit of beef with some wrestlers.
Yeah. So...
Can you talk about that?
I can, mate. I'd be more than happy. So, there was a wrestling event, PWA, Pro Wrestling Australia, part of the entertainment, and... The area that I was in for Beer Footy Food Festival, the event organizer was there. I was there with Charlie, and they were talking would Jimmy be interested? I was like, yeah, definitely. I am a huge wrestling fan. I grew up loving wrestling, and then something bit of fun whatever. And then one of the wrestlers come in and he overheard and he's like, oh, mate, you wouldn't last 2 minutes. And I've just gone like, yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Just, you know, man, a few beers. I'm not there to be confident. I'm not going to start the beef now. Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, no. I can't imagine what it's like to actually train for something. I'm so on my death. So it got brought up on radio, Triple M, and he's got the information that I've been bagging him or putting him out. The example, Ricky South, and I think one of his someone that was there as well, Kingsley, been called out on social media for this, saying get in the ring anytime, anywhere. So I don't know, geez, I'm thinking about it.
Is this like the real wrestling or the?
Well, I guess it's the top line of.
Yeah, but we're not talking like, you know, in America with the headgears on and they.
Oh no! Not like not that like
the
jiu-jitsu wrestling. No, we're talking like entertaining, like sports entertainment, WWE, WWF, WCW. Like, but the examples called me out, which I think we can throw to Tony.
Out here at Campbelltown supporting the West Tigers and the NRLW, and I got word from Triple M Sunday Scrum that one James Graham decided to talk a little bit of trash about PWA and the example Ricky South. Well, listen here, bruv. James Graham, you may be one of the GOAT prop forwards of all time, but I am the best professional wrestler in the world. James Graham, if you ever want to step into the ring with the example and step into the world of PWA, you have an open invite from the example.
And then we've got some more audio from Kingsley, who's called me out as well, talking trash about me.
Hi, it's me, Kingsley, and this is a little message for our friend James Graham. There's a little saying from people from out west, especially a girl from Liverpool, that we say when people say things a bit out of line, talk shit, get hit. So, why don't you, James Graham, join myself and the rest of the girls, especially the ones in skirts, in the ring one day? Let's see how we go there. Okay? Toodles.
So, yeah, being called out, cheese.
The example.
I know. Like, I think they got the wrong end of the stick here, that I can't do it. Like, I think I've got the capacity to compete in the sports entertainment. And also, I'm not just some blowing. Like, I was obsessed with wrestling when I was a youngster. Like, me and my mate Mavis used to walk to school. This is going back in the day. Monday Night Raw. We didn't get Monday Night Raw in England. We'd get it on a Friday night. But just as the internet came, we'd get the Raw results. He'd print them off in his house. He'd knock for me. He'd read them on the way to mine. Then I'd get them. I'd read them halfway to school. And then we talk about the Raw results every Tuesday morning. This was our ritual. Tuesday morning, read the Raw results. Like, if the example thinks I'm just some blowing that doesn't know about Sting and how he took on NWO, like, I've watched SummerSlam 97 at Wembley 1,000 times, Bushwhackers, Legion of Doom. Like, if he just thinks I'm, you know, like, if I don't get goosebumps, the WWF Attitude Era advert is something that inspired me as a youngster. Like, Kane coming on, Paul Bearer, he's alive, Undertaker, he's alive. And then when he just came onto the scene, if you just think I'm just some blower, the very first Hell in a Cell, like, Undertaker choke slamming Mankind through. And if you don't think me and my school friends have had a multitude of wrestling matches,
what's the one where you got people coming one at a time and there's like 30?
Royal Rumble.
Oh, I used to like that one.
Yeah. Me too. So
Hell in the Cell, Royal Rumble, TLC, Tables, Ladders, Chairs. What's the one where the ring was on fire? What's that called?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, Inferno. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, look, the example, he's talking himself up. I wonder what his peers
I'm back
think.
here for 2 minutes.
For 2 minutes? Mate, it's not rounds. It's not like a scheduled boxing match.
Yeah, but they said you wouldn't last 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm back here for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So I look, I guess we'll see. Got to get to the
I'll just get in there like
negotiation table, you know, and see what PWA.
I think they're looking for a little bit of pump up.
Yeah, you reckon that?
Advertisement.
Yeah, you reckon. Well, you know,
come to the right man. He's on every bloody show. Every bloody show there is. Every finger in every pie. Mate, if we talk shit, we'll get this on Triple M, we'll get this on the Pie Round, we'll get this on Fox League.
Do you reckon they're using me?
Yeah, they're using for sure.
Do you reckon I'm being used and abused here?
Yeah. I reckon you take
So you say something outrageous like I'm not here to take part, here to take over McGregor style.
I'm sure the example's got... he's pretty good at wrestling, but I've never heard of him. And I would love to, you know, see him on SmackDown or Raw or, you know, something like that before he says he's the greatest wrestler in the world.
Well, this year's been full of new challenges. I've made my acting debut. So I guess it remains to be seen. So
That was good, man.
The call out video was quite intimidating, especially like I'm not active on social media. I don't have it, but obviously with the buy round we do. But that's the very first time I think I've been called out for anything. Normally it's just people in the street yelling like "you ginger tosser," you know. It's a bit different.
Get in the ring with the girls with the skirts and have a wrestle.
I know, yeah. Well, I don't know where that came from, but
talk shit, get hit.
Well, as well, look, Kingsley, like I am from Liverpool. I am from Liverpool. So
have you heard that one before?
Like I'm from the real Liverpool, and we don't fuck about. We do not fuck about in Liverpool. Scousers, nah. You don't want.
Do you reckon she knew you were from Liverpool?
No, she's saying she's from Liverpool. That the out west, Sydney.
Oh.
Yeah, no, she doesn't know where I'm from.
I thought they had like Pommy accents.
No, she's from Liverpool out west. I'm from the real Liverpool.
Yeah, the actual Liverpool.
The actual Liverpool where we stick together. Scousers, you don't want to mess with us. Like it's just not worth going down that. We've we fight. We stick together. Like it's you don't want to start going after or talking about what it's like to come from Liverpool when I'm from the original Liverpool. Like no, it's just not going to happen.
That's all time now.
Yeah.
I love that.
Anyway, I guess we'll see where we go. Anyway, we are not a WWE show, WWF, as much as I'd love to go into all the finer details of that. Shout out Jake the Snake Roberts, recovery, all that jazz. Mate, it's round 21. It's done and dusted. I feel as though there are a few twists in the tail of where this season's going to go. I don't think the playoff race is done and dusted, as a lot of people are talking about. Obviously, the Dolphins losing really helped. Raiders winning, they're in position to take advantage of those victories. They've got a tough draw. But before we get into that, there's a fair bit of news. Stefano finally confirmed he's on the move. We don't know where yet, but I think for Stefano, he's currently, in my opinion, not in the top 10 props. He wants to get there. I think he'd range probably somewhere between 12 and 20, maybe 15, 20. He'd want to advance his own game, reach his full potential, which he obviously isn't feeling he can do that at the Tigers, and play at a club that is successful. So I think it's the Bulldogs and the Storm that are front runners for there. So it remains to be seen where he'll go. It'll probably be announced today, tomorrow, very, very soon. But it's a big win for Stefano that two of the big clubs are after him. But for the Tigers, obviously they can move on. But where do you think this puts the Tigers, Cheese?
It's a tough one because obviously losing, a young forward, like obviously he lost the ability to see where that club was going. That's why he's obviously asked for an early release. But I think with the personnel they've got coming, it might have been a good idea to probably try him out before you really ask a release. I just think with Jerome Luai and Api Kurosau there next year, I think it's a different club completely. They don't have a Aiden Caesar and a young Lucky Galvin. They've got a 3-time premiership winning half on Ways, who's obviously this year has shown he can steer around a team without Nathan Cleary. But yeah, obviously the pressure's building on Benji, but I just think there's a lot to look forward to for the Tigers. A lot
You
to look forward.
really?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, it's hard for who else are they getting? They're getting
Taruva.
Junior Taruva.
And they've got some money now, but still, I guess the environment that is there, Stefano feels as though he can't reach his potential there. So he's moved on, and then they've got money, but they're in competition with other teams that also have money, the Dragons. So I don't know. It's been the same story for a long, long time. I think Jerome Luai is the best signing they've made in so long.
Yeah.
And I guess they've almost gone all in on him, that he's going to be the same style of leader as Stephen Crichton and the impact he's had at the Dogs. But obviously, it's not just Crichton, it's the system and the culture and the style of play and person that they've brought in. It remains to be seen whether Benji and Richardson are in that same category as, Serraldo and Gould, or, a Shane Flanagan that's walked in the door at the Dragons, and 4 players, Luciano, Ray Fatalamana, Kyle Flanagan, Tu Pilotu. Don't think they signed anyone else of note, and they basically gone from being wooden spoon contenders to in the hunt for the 8. So I just don't know if the Tigers have that in them anytime soon. That's probably why Stefano's looked and gone, not only my potential, but where that club's going to be at. He's fast-tracked his chance to play finals, I believe, by moving on.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge job ahead, that no doubt, but I just think there's something in Luai that I see that he can be that Stephen Crichton. He can be that leader. He's obviously very opinionated and obviously loves to talk. And I just wonder if he can influence that team behind the closed doors, not just on the footy field, but behind closed doors. He can influence what the Penrith Panthers have been doing over years and years and years. And who knows the Penrith Panthers team better than Jerome Luai?
Yeah.
And probably Nathan Cleary is the only one. Nathan Cleary, Isaiah Yeo. But he knows that system inside and out. And if I'm Benji, I'm going, mate, tell me what the secret is. And I'm like, sometimes you can't act like you're the smartest in the room. You know what I mean? You have.
But then is that not bad if the coach is looking
to the new player? It's not say every but at the end of the day, what else is he going to do? He's at the moment he was in good sides himself, but at the moment he doesn't have players that know how to win. He's got Api Coruscant. He knows how to win.
Yeah.
He's been in a winning system. But I don't think Api Coruscant is as vocal as what I reckon Jerome Luai would be. But sometimes you just got to lick your wounds and ask for advice on things that Penrith were doing. Like, I'm sure I've asked bloody Spencer Leniu that many times what's the secret? What did they do? Yeah. And he doesn't give me much, but I'm going to keep asking him.
Yeah. Look, the Tigers, they do have some money. It remains to be seen what's going to happen with John Bateman. He's moved to England with 2 years still left on his deal. I guess even releasing Isaiah Papali'i before they could sort of get the words out their mouth, the Panthers were on the phone and locking him away. So, look, I guess this year for Benji has been a bit of a free hit, but the pressure's going to be coming next year with Jerome in the team. Like they need
who's on the market? Another front rower on the market.
I think one of the Saifiti boys has been told he can go.
When's Nelson coming off contract?
He's not off contract.
No, he's not.
He's on contract, but there's talk of him being released. But
for Stefano,
I think the mail is that he might if he
so
goes.
Bulldogs and Melbourne are the front runners. They both, man, he would be an add to both those sides.
I think with Nelson, like all talk is if he does leave, he'll go to Union, Japan. Yeah. So I don't. He posts a few weird things on his Instagram about how
still off it.
He's still off it.
Yeah.
Have you got a date to be back on or?
No. Well, it was. So I did like a 30-day thing. I've already passed it, but I haven't looked back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think if I was Stefano, So you'd be very happy with those selections. Melbourne would be such a great club for him. Just in terms of, geez, I almost had a fit there. In terms of young player development, I reckon that's one of the best clubs in the business for that.
Well, we're seeing what the Bulldogs are doing in terms of.
See, I'm barracking for Melbourne. You're barracking.
Well, we've seen what they've done in terms of getting the best out of the players.
Out of the players,
you know, getting to your genetic potential, increasing your football IQ, putting you in the system. You know, a strong team.
Well, I tell you what,
and I think the talk in the press is his partner has a desire to stay in Sydney to be close to friends and family. So obviously that probably tips the Bulldogs in favour.
Tell me you work for the Bulldogs without telling me.
tell me you used to play for the Storm without telling me.
Oh, he's the greatest salesman.
Yeah. Good job the Roosters don't need any middles anyway. Let's just put it that way. The team that the Bulldogs beat on the weekend, the performance against the Brisbane Broncos was absolutely sublime. The mental capacity to keep not being swayed by things that were going against them or moments of individual brilliance from the Broncos. Like, they concede that try from Reece Walsh. They kick off to Willison and drag him back, which was insane. Then they drag the next player back, Hetherington. He gets an offload, and they're going after them. Then Walsh kicks a 40-20, but then they frustrate them with their goal line D. Payne Haas puts a kick in. Frustration. It's like, and then Staggs scores that insane try that it feels like only Tony Staggs can do. He is such a fun player to watch. Go in at half time and then they just come out and it's like, yeah, no worries. We're not going to be affected by that. We'll just keep on going, keep on moving. So the Dogs, it was a magnificent performance, catapults them into like top 4 contention now. 6 games to go for them. They probably need to win 5, I think, to get top 4. So it's doable with the way that they're performing. They've still got Crichton, Josh Edekar, and Max King to come back in. But a lot of focus now on the Broncos. News today that Selwyn Cobbo, Origin star, has been arrested but not charged or arrested for questioning on a domestic violence matter, which will be before the court. So we can't talk about that, but it will have likely implications for the Broncos moving forward. Cheese, they lost that grand final last year. And I just wonder, because of what's happened this year, it's hard to get over a grand final loss, but maybe they're realising just how difficult it was to get there. All those what ifs. Oh, it's not, the stars will align again. But now the stars aren't aligning in terms of players in form. Reece Walsh has been a season disrupted by injury. Adam Reynolds the same. There's no Flegler, there's no Farnworth. Maybe now the fact that they lost that grand final in the fashion that they did, now it hurts even more because they've realised how hard it was going to be. Maybe they thought, well, yeah, it's a shit kicker, but we'll be there next year because we've got the team to do it. But it's not as simple as that. And maybe that mental demon is worse because they're realising just how hard it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard for them to cop this. I mean, especially losing, like, if he's, I don't know what the goal is with Selwyn, but if he's charged, is he out?
It may
or is he still out anyways?
He may be subject to the no-fault stand-down policy, but I guess he would likely have to be charged.
Because what's your honest opinion on how they will end up? Do you think they can make it?
The Broncos, well, I've been saying since the start of the season you need 13 wins to make the finals, to guarantee it, which you do. But this year, I've been mucking around on the ladder predictor.
I think you might need more.
Now, 13 will definitely get you in this year.
Really?
Easy, yeah. This year, 12 might, especially the Warriors. And I've been mucking around on the ladder predictor on NRL.com. And
because a lot of people were sitting on 9.
Yeah, so there's so many teams clustered together. So if it's an even split, it could come down to points difference. I think 12. I reckon we could see a table this year where 7th are on 13 wins and 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th are all on 12 wins.
Yeah.
And 12 losses. Or 12 wins, 11 losses, and a draw, which would put the Warriors in. So
there's hope.
There's still hope for the Broncos, but they're so out of form. They've got the demons of last year, I think, are clearly still there. They've forgotten how to win. They rely on a lot of individuals, it seems. But we just keep waiting for them to turn, like,
I thought honestly,
10.
I thought last week was the switch up. I thought that was the kick in the ass. That was the game that's just kicked them back, and because they were flying. Like, obviously the game started off pretty hard at the start, but they started flying, and when they were flying, it just looked like they were faster than the other team. Whereas I don't think that was the case against the Bulldogs. So it's going to be a tough road ahead. I don't know. I don't have the answers for them. I mean, last year I've already sort of talked about how we went last year, and it's just taking one win at a time, Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about the finals. Just worry about winning the game in front of you. Like, because that'll just be in the back of your head, the final, if you just keep worrying about it.
Yeah.
Like, you got to make it happen by just winning one game at a time. And I don't know what the goal. And when you said it's hard to make a grand final, my first 3 years at the club, I made 2 grand finals, and then it's like, this is bloody easy, isn't it? Then it took a long time. I take it out 2 more years. I've made another one. Oh no, 2 years, won one, lost one, and then from then, I've realised injuries. You know, people like poor form, injuries. It can all affect your chance to make a grand final, even the finals. Like, we almost missed the finals last year as a team, and like, respectfully, we shouldn't even have been close to missing the finals. We had the personnel and the team to do it, and it's not just hard to make a grand final; it's bloody hard to make finals these days. Every team is about 1 or 2 wins away from either dropping out of the race or being completely in the race. 2 wins in a row or 2 losses in a row can derail you or put you in the driver's seat. So, but as a footy fan and watching the footy, it's the best ever. You know what I mean? It's the best that our product has been in a long time, and we give a lot of stink to the rule changes and that, but just balancing the teams out has been perfect this year. So
it's been great.
And even last year was amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this year as well. Like, the Dolphins play the Titans yesterday, and you've got 5 teams just cheering for the Titans to come back, like, because that helps them out, because they don't want they just don't want the Dolphins to win, because it keeps them one game closer to stealing their spot in the 8 that they currently hold. So I reckon there's still a few twists and turns in this race for the playoffs, like, and the race for the top 4 as well. I reckon Storm, Penrith, Roosters are in, but I still don't know who the last spot is going to belong to. Sharks, Cowboys, maybe Bulldogs. A few of those teams have got to play one another as well.
The Bulldogs draw, they're winnable games, but they're tough games.
Yeah.
Dragons, Redcliffe, you can win those games, but they're not just rollovers, those teams.
And this
Canberra, the very hard team to beat on their day.
This stage of the season as well, like, you play against a Para or a South, and they're depleted with injuries, but they might just they don't have pressure. And all those teams that are fighting for the 8, they're playing under pressure, and almost, you spoke, Cheese, about the attitude of the Roosters players last year in terms of, it's just one game at a time. But when you're in the fight for the 8 and you're playing a team that aren't, all the pressure's on you to win. So Para could easily upset a few people this year.
Oh, for sure. They nearly bloody upset them.
The Tigers against the Cowboys at Leichhardt Oval, you can just, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for the Tigers to just turn one on. They did, in fact, last year against the very same team. So, look, there's a few twists in the tail to go. Just on that Roosters, that win against Manly, close game, you guys made over 100 more tackles than the Manly Seagulls. You guys looked absolutely...
Yeah, well, we had 41% possession.
Yes.
That was one of the talking points.
But you actually played really well.
Yeah, well, I mean, we started so well,
Yeah.
and then the problem was we didn't defend our line in the first half. We didn't defend our line very good at all. And then in the second half, we defended our line like absolute madmen. If we had not done that, we were in big trouble. But yeah, it's just one of those games where like you just couldn't help but like think, what the fuck is going on here?
It was crazy.
Yeah, it like actually I couldn't fathom it. I thought in the first 20, I was like, mate, we're about to roll these. I didn't even think Michael Jennings hit Saab in the head. I thought he just tapped out. But turns out he did. Did you see that? He got 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, I think he got 2.
Oh, really?
Guilty, yeah. So I thought it's hard to hit Saab in the head. There was mitigating circumstances, but I guess that's the climate that we're in. Obviously, Garrick was stumbled and then removed for a HA, and coach wasn't happy, but that's not the reason Manly lost. Like, the independent doctor is going to see a stumble and go, he needs to come for a HA, and that's it. That's the rules of engagement now, and it's hard to envisage that ever changing.
But just with our game, I thought when we got ahead, we played like we were not ahead. You know what I mean? We sort of got to the point where we started just shifting the ball. Like at the start, we just ding-donged, and then we scored off the back of those ding-dong. They ended up kicking the ball out because they, like in the first half, they just kept kicking it out as a tactic to give their boys a bit of rest. I thought, and it was a pretty good tactic because it was working. When you kick it out, you get that opportunity to get a full set line and tee off on the team. But then towards the back end of the second half, we were up by 16 or something like that with about 12 minutes to go. And we were playing like we still needed points. We were playing like we still needed a score against them. Like you just need now I know when I watched the game back that, we just lacked a bit of patience. We could have just happy to go set for set for set for set for set.
How was Robbo after the game and in review?
Robbo, he was all right. It wasn't too bad. Like it's hard to. I think he understands that although that we didn't play too well towards the back end of the game, like we started very well and we won a football game, and it's hard to see that when you've only won by a little bit.
You know, the start of your game, it seemed to me like it was very personal because of the Manly game in round 2.
Yeah.
Was that spoken about in the build-up? Because it seemed that the Roosters forwards, especially in the middle, had a point to prove.
I don't think it was so much the Manly game, but it was the Melbourne game. The game last. The game last week, we started off with, a bit of a, I guess, approach to the game where it was, we'll try take the easy options to get through this game, and I think we spoke about that last week, but. This game was just, we're going to try and knock the front door down and do what you do to them, what they did to us in round 2. And I think we did that, but then we went away from it once we had put all the points on. And it's just another lesson.
Yeah. Speaking of lessons, Harris DeVita obviously had some goal kicking lessons. On a personal note, great to see him get that conversion. That's one of the, I really admire his ability to just keep the responsibility of goal kicking. Missed his first 2. Delighted to see him kick the third one. He was pumping his fist and he was up and about. A big win for the Warriors. They remain in contention for playoffs. Melbourne obviously just far too good for Para.
Yeah,
what do you make of where Melbourne are at the moment with obviously Munster back in?
Well, I think they're on top of the table.
Yeah. But it's weird, isn't it? I guess, do they get the credit they deserve for being top?
Not at the moment. They're not getting the credit they deserve, I don't think. I think Melbourne's always a team that don't really get the credit they deserve. Just because they're all the way out there in Melbourne.
Yeah.
You don't see them too often in the papers and stuff like that around here. Like Nathan Cleary kicks that field goal. It was on like 4 pages of the Herald. But if like Munster or someone did that, it'd hardly even make it over here. and it's one of the advantages I think of being a Melbourne player. Like all the boys after the Melbourne game that went out and had a beer or something, they were just saying how good is it living here because no one recognises you, no one calls you, like, you know, no one gives you any dramas. So yeah, it was one of the good things. But yeah, I just think they deserve a bit more than what they've got at the moment because they're absolutely killing the comp at the moment.
Yeah,
they're up by what, 4 points or 2 wins?
I think they're 2 or 3 wins ahead of Penrith. Hard to see them not being minor premiers. A team that's on the slide, Sharks. They had a disappointing loss against the Cowboys. They snapped a losing streak against the Tigers, but then again, just defensively, a few lapses against the Cows.
Yeah, it's hard. Without Nico, I think they still did a pretty good job. But I think that Cowboys team is probably the one that's the sneaky one, I think, for the top 4. I think they got the personnel to get there, and once it all starts clicking, it's pretty hard to start clicking round 22. But I think they've still got another gear they can go up. I just personally believe that they've got another gear they can go up,
especially defensively. They've got Tamalolo, fractured eye socket, and also it was a nasty collision. Ruben Cotter, he's going to be missing that game at Leichhardt, so bit light in the middle for a little bit, but the Cowboys they are looking. They're right in the mixer for that top 4 spot. But the Sharks, I think they need Nico back, and him coming back, it's not about what his physical level is like, it's mentally. If he's mentally on, they'll be sweet. Yeah. If not, they may struggle to compete in finals.
Yeah, so it's Sharks, Bulldogs, Cowboys. That's the
that aiming for that one spot in the top 3. Manly.
In what order would you say?
I think the Sharks will probably
make a comeback.
No, probably Cowboys because they've got an extra win than the Dogs. So yeah, probably Cowboys, and I know they've got a very favourable draw.
Yeah,
and don't have to. I think they leave.
Yeah, I'm not backing the Bulldogs out though.
No.
I think the way the Bulldogs play, they can beat Canberra.
I think they play Cowboys the round 27 as well, which could be winner gets that last spot in the top 4, but the prize awaits is a trip to Melbourne.
Yeah.
With the possibility of beating them and getting a week off, but then you're basically playing a finals game a week early. So I guess...
How many wins is the Bulldogs on? 10?
10. Cowboys are on 11.
I think they can win their next 3. And then I do. It's just the style of play.
So good defensively. The attack was unlocked, and it's exciting time for everyone, Bulldogs fans. Big shout out as well to all the Bulldogs fans that have stuck by the club through the tough periods and the tough moments and continue to support them. I know it means a lot to everyone, and obviously with success, people get on that bandwagon, but there's some there, the diehards that have been there through thick and thin. Big shout out to you. Time for some questions from our listeners, Cheese. Let's see what we got. Some related to the wrestling, which is kind of interesting, but we've covered that. We're not going back there. One from Linky Pinky 87. Fins up. Where is Valtafari? That's a great question. He's not featured this year, has he?
Didn't he get released?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh, well, Linky Pinky 87, we don't know. I did enjoy seeing Valtafari when he played last year, but yeah. Cheese, one for you, Robert Ptolemy. Player you hate playing against but would love on your team.
I hate playing against. There's depends. You mean mentally or physically?
Well, go with either.
Because I hate playing against Jerome Hughes because he's a slippery gypsy, and I'd love to have him in my team, but I hated playing against Teddy, man. I used to hate it because he's so strong.
Yeah.
He's deceptively he is just a block of muscle.
I know the phrase you want to use, but we can't. But yes, I agree. He is deceptively strong. Let's put it that way. An idea from Rossi G88: NRL v Super League 9's comp for Vegas 2026. NRL top 4 versus Super League top 4. Winner gets $1 million. Well, look, I think it's a great idea, but where's this million coming from? Look, I think that's one of those Rossi G88. That is great idea in theory, and just different. Like, well, why would you take the Nines game there? I don't understand.
Well,
why
they're not. Oh, you want to take the Nines game to Vegas?
Yeah.
I thought
have a Nines comp there.
I thought you meant have the comp, and then the winner gets to go to Vegas.
Oh no! The Nines comp in Vegas. I mean, I don't know. It'd be way more difficult to organise.
Rossi G's just suffered from a Brandon Smith syndrome. I've got plenty of great ideas.
Yes,
in my head.
And sometimes the best idea is not to verbalise those ideas. I'm with you, Cheese. Some questions about if you could both play in a derby rivalry to see how it was. Which would it be and why?
State of origin.
Yeah, I'm probably the same. Yeah. Like just to see what it's actually.
Yeah.
But actually to be born and raised in one of them in Queensland or New South to get that feel for it. Did anyone behind the try line go after Kez, especially after the intercept too? Dave, Robbo, official. Cheese, did anyone go off at Kez? Or was it just...
I'll be completely honest. I was very late to the huddle. As soon as I seen it happen from the scrum, it took me about 3 minutes to walk from the 60-metre line all the way over to the try line. And I almost Corey Horsberg'd it for a bit.
What do you mean?
I was going... I was that angry, I wanted to I was that angry, I was almost about to tear up.
Oh, really? Well, you had like 4 minutes. Fucking hold on.
Yeah.
It's hard that because obviously you don't mean to throw the intercept, but you still did.
Nah, he took it well. But even like when we trained on the field today, he's like, boys, no intercepts.
Just keep it nice and tight. This is a good one from Scraggy. If you could create a new Olympic sport that would be entertaining to watch, what would it be and what unusual rules would it have? That's a great question.
It's a hard question, first of all.
There's not many sports that exist that aren't in the Olympics. Like they've got just about everything. Breakdancing, like maybe I don't know.
Have you ever heard of kabaddi?
Kabaddi, yeah.
Kabaddi?
I have kabaddi. Yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing that in the Olympics.
Bit of kabaddi, yeah.
Kabaddi.
You've got one of the rules. You got to say kabaddi while you're doing it.
Yeah. Kabaddi. I think so. Apparently it's meant to make you lose your breath or whatever.
International tap.
Mate, I had this Uber driver one time. He's like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I'll play rugby." He's like, "Oh, rugby doesn't compare to kabaddi." Mate, I just sat in the back, and he must have been the biggest kabaddi fan, or I don't know how to say it, probably. Because I asked him if he liked cricket. He was like, "No, I don't like." Respectfully, I don't like that girl sport. But yeah, and then he just went on about kabaddi for that long. It was like he was so invested in it, and I was just in the back, hungover, going, "Shut the fuck up." Man.
Yeah, but that's where you got to change your preferences to no talk.
I wish they had one of those doors.
Yeah. When I was in Vegas last day, actually was just mooching around, went and stopped and got a bit of a Mexican feed and a beer just to take the edge off. And I was looking at the screen. They had like world tag tournaments where you had to like maybe a bit of that in the Olympics. I don't know. I'd like to see actually, you know what was good? There's a show called International King of Sports that had some great ideas that you could bring back. Backwards 200 meters. And I'm being legit.
Yeah, well, not 100, but
because the 200 meters you got to run the bend. So backwards on the bend, make it add to the degree of difficulty. Headlong dive, so you know where you do the long jump and you land in the pit. It's where you're back. It's where you know the very end of you. Do you know what I'm talking about? So you run up to do the long jump, you jump, you take off, and they mark you
where your head was.
No. They mark you where your bum is at the very back of you. But the headlong dive, you'd run.
Oh yeah,
and
I mean,
the
like
idea
this
was to
sport.
mark at the front.
Yeah.
Yes, headlong dive. They had underwater shot put. So, mate.
I knew you would know this one.
Mate, honestly, underwater shot put. There's some great sports on International King of Sports. Alan Partridge used to speak about inner city sumo wrestling. I think that could be a great Olympic sport.
Have you seen phone box boxing?
Phone box boxing would be amazing. I reckon.
They do car jiu-jitsu as well.
What?
Where you like both sit in the front seat of a car.
Oh, mate, that
You
would
both
be
sit in the front seat of the
amazing.
car and they go 3, 2, 1. You got to take your seatbelt off.
Oh,
And then
mate, that sort of stuff is right up my alley for entertainment, or even like beer, like, you know,
honestly, I think the front diving one would be awesome.
headlong dive, yeah. Maybe some sort of like, you know, drinking challenge and athletic challenge. You know, so I did the high rocks, maybe high rocks into the Olympics, but you run a K, you got to drink a pint. Run a K, you got to do a Guinness. Run a K, you got a vodka soda.
Yeah,
run
so
a
like
K,
the
you got a
10K run, every K you got to do it.
Let's do eight different drinks. So you run 1K, and then you've got, okay, I go over to the Guinness.
No, I reckon the Olympics you need to be more than that, eh?
Well,
I only drink 8 beers easy.
after running a K.
Easy.
But this is different drink. So first pint of Guinness, heavy. Oh, then glass of champers. Oh, the bubbles going in. I reckon there's something along those lines, but there's some.
It would just be disgusting to see. Well,
Yeah. Imagine training, the training for it as well alone.
what would the training be?
Well, basically get pissed and run.
Sit on the treadie, just skelling beers.
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon there's something in that. There's a lot of bizarre
Underwater shot put. Geez, it'd be a disaster for the pool cleaner.
No, because just swim and get it and drag it
No,
back.
mate, how hard would it be hitting the
Oh,
floor?
yeah.
Not the pool cleaner, but the pool maintenance guy.
Yeah. All right, that'll wrap us up, Cheese. We've done some weird and wonderful directions. Who've you got this week?
Dolphins.
Where at? Oh, you're in Perth, aren't
In
you?
Perth.
When did you head over?
Tomorrow. Then I got the bye. Staying up in Perth for a little bit.
Oh, nice. So you're not on next week?
No, I'll be back. I'm back Monday.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
I was like, babe, I can't stay too long. Got the bye round. I was actually meant to be in an RLPA meeting right now. I said, mate, I got to go to my bye round podcast. Sorry, boys.
Well, I'm glad to see where you've got your priorities, Cheese. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. Also, big thank you for everybody that has liked and subscribed on YouTube. We are at 15,000 followers, so thank you all for everybody that's been a part of that and helping us grow. Catch you next week.